Salutation cyberspace, this is JCal Arts, the YouTube channel that's home to the Let's Draw, where I draw out my ideas and explain the idea behind the drawing. In today's Let's Draw, I'll be drawing anthropomorphized versions of 3 characters from the Warriors Cats franchise. So firstly, I haven't read the book since 9th grade, so it's been a while, and if I get the character details or other things wrong, just correct me in the comment section. Secondly, I suggest my viewers who haven't heard the Warriors Cats franchise somehow to watch these 2 videos by these 2 creators so you can learn more, because this isn't a lore channel, this is an art channel. And lastly, I want to give the spoiler warning here because I'm not holding back. I'm going to have to explain some story details for character and to give you info on the drawing and the thought process I had behind it. So now with the preamble over, we can start the drawing. So the first Warriors character that's getting an anthro design will be Fireheart. And yes, I will be referring to the cat characters by their warrior names, Warriors fans. And if you don't know anything about the naming system, again, watch the 2 videos so you can learn more. But Fireheart here is the main character of the first arc of the Warriors franchise. And yes, there are arcs in the book series, and it just reminds me of a long-running manga in that way. But Fireheart's character and journey is him being a house cat who ends up running into warrior cats from the Thunder Clan, and then he ends up joining their clan and rising through the ranks and not only becoming the leader of the Thunder Clan but also a very respected warrior in his own right. So he's basically the main character going into a system with an innate disadvantage and rising above the ranks to rule them all. So he's the main hero that ever heroed. So when it came to Fireheart's anthro design, I based his design largely in part by Lion-O from the Thundercats series, because you know they're both main characters and everything. And I like Lion-O's 80s design because he has like big red huge hair, and I gave it to Fireheart because it kind of looks like, you know, a big patch of flame on his head. And I ended up basing his costume off of the Zulu tribe, who's famed for their warriors, because we're talking about warrior cats. And so he has the Zulu shield as like an armor chest piece, and he's wearing the Zulu battle cloth or battle skirt. I'm not sure, you can let me know what that is called if there's any Zulu people watching. And I have him holding the Ikla, or the Zulu stabbing spear, and reshaped it to be more of a sword shape. And I ended up having to use Lion King characters for reference because y'all know that I suck at drawing furry characters. But I wanted Fireheart to really look like the main character, and like he stepped right out of a 90s cartoon where everyone was muscular and beef. So yeah, that's Fireheart. So now we're giving an anthro design to Graystripe, who's Fireheart's best friend and serves really as an entry point for Fireheart to be introduced to the whole warrior cat clan system. And so Graystripe was there with him from the very beginning, and I remember him for falling in love with the River Clan cat and having babies with her. And non-warrior fans, basically cats having relationships with each other if they're from different clans is considered a no-no, but Graystripe decided to go ahead and do it anyway because he a chat. But for real, Graystripe, you know, comes off as like a goofy doofus when it comes to his description from the books and what I've seen in the wiki. You can, you know, feel free to agree or disagree, warrior fans, but I'm going to take his design in that direction of just making him a big, goofy himbo doofus. And so he's taller than Fireheart, he's more muscular and beefier than Fireheart, and he has more fur on his face than Fireheart does. He's just a big, furry, you know, doofy, goofy dude. And I decided to base his hairstyle off of Vake from Fire Emblem Awakening because at the same time I was into Warriors, I was also into Fire Emblem Awakening at that time. So we're going on a nostalgia trip here. He is leaning on a African axe, and yes, in the continent of Africa, there were axes that were used in battle. I also decided to make Graystripe a lighter shade of gray because I wanted the gray stripe represented in this drawing with the dark gray triangle underneath his hairline to be easier to tell. And this is artist taking liberties here because I envisioned that Graystripe running down the back of his body like it says in the wiki. But they meaning artists on the Warriors wiki and in book covers, have depicted Graystripe being a very dark shade of gray, almost black. And so I just wanted to make him lighter to make that part of his design here a lot easier to tell, considering his name is Gray Stripe. So the final anthro design will be going to Tiger Claw, who is the main antagonist of the first arc of the Warriors Cats franchise, and I think a very good fit for his counterpart Fireheart, as this intimidating, scary, conquering warrior with ambition so strong to where he will kill for what he wants, basically got put away and put down by a house cat who know how to throw hands. So that's pretty bitterly hilarious of an end for this antagonist here. But I want to explain Tiger Claw's story a bit. He used to be the deputy of the Thunder Clan, the Thunder Clan being the clan Fireheart joins, and the deputy is the second in command. And he ended up being expelled because he basically tried to usurp the leader of the Thunder Clan at that time, Blue Star. And he ended up joining Shadow Clan instead. And Shadow Clan is like the edgy clan with the edgy cats. And he became leader there as well and tried to conquer the other clans from that position. So yeah, I decided to base this design off of Shao Kahn because who better else did the base this design off of than the Conqueror Emperor himself? So I decided to try to make him scary as hell. He's a big, tall, muscular, imposing figure. I have him wear a headdress that many Zulu warriors wear with big black feathers that stand up tall. He has piercing yellow eyes, battle scars, a torn ear, spiked shoulder pads, and he's wearing a cape that looks like a tiger pelt, you know, given his name Tiger Claw. And I also want to point out that I believe Tiger Claw had more than one mate at the same time, because he had Golden Flower as a mate and had kids with her, and then he also ended up running into a female house cat named Sasha in the spinoff that I just found out existed, and so he had kids with her too. I don't think he was alive to see them or wasn't around to see them, but basically we got potentially two-timing baby daddy right here, y'all. So we have one more segment where I'm basically doing what I see a lot of Warrior Cats fans do in their reinterpretations of cover art for the Warrior Cats books, because there's only so many angles of feral cats that you can paint before it starts to get very dramatic to the point where it's hilarious. And so I'm using my anthro designs of Fireheart, Gray Stripe, and Tiger Claw to create this book cover here of Gray Stripe and Fireheart in the main foreground with Tiger Claw basically in the background, shaded in darkness with his yellow piercing eyes glowing out. And it gave me a good practice drawing backgrounds, and I ended up using, you know, paint brushes and other tools in Clip Studio Paint that I don't usually use to create this. So I hope you guys enjoy. But when I was getting into Warrior Cats, I ended up starting with the second arc of the series and not the first one, because I didn't know how that worked within the Warriors franchise. And then I ended up having to basically return that book from the middle school library and start from the very beginning, true in blue. But I never really interacted with the community online because I didn't know the Warriors Cats fandom was as big as it was during the 2010s and early 2000s and early YouTube. So having to come upon this information and wealth of just content from the Warriors Cats fandom now, multiple years later, is quite interesting. And it seems that the Warrior Cats fandom still is kicking around. And so, you know, I'm glad you guys ended up keeping this series alive, even though some of y'all are out here saying that you were in middle school acting out the role play of feral cats, which, you know, I love Warrior Cats, but damn, some of y'all are weird. But, you know, no shade here. I mean, I did this Let's Draw, so I appreciate the series as well. And, you know, I like to hear thoughts about the characters that I've drawn today, or just the Warrior Cats franchise in general. So thank you for watching.